New Thought Media Network proudly presents Having Courageous Conversations, where real talk dives deep. Each week we go beyond surface talk. We open our hearts, speak our truths, and dive into the stories that shape us. No scripts, no filters, just powerful, unforgettable conversations about life, purpose, healing, and truth. Join the conversation, because your voice belongs here. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check out our YouTube channel at Having Courageous Conversations or email us at yourshowyourvoice@gmail.com. Now, let's have a courageous conversation.
The views and opinions of our guest and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of New Thought Media Network, or any organization we may be affiliated with. Here at New Thought Media Network, we welcome freedom of speech and courageous conversations. There are many topics that can be difficult to navigate. Challenging the status quo and engaging in lively debate is important to expanding our understanding of one another, and life in general. Creating a peaceful world doesn't happen because no one disagrees, it happens from a willingness to understanding one another. In our programming, we strive to expand consciousness and assist people in creating remarkable lives. Your comments are welcome at info@ntmedia.org.
Welcome to today's episode of Courageous Conversations, a heartfelt, spirit-led online series where we explore the transformative power of honest dialogue. Rooted in authenticity, compassion, and spiritual awareness, this show invites voices from all walks of life to engage in meaningful conversations. I'm Cheryl, and I'm delighted to be here with my wonderful co-host Marg, and together we are delighted to be having a conversation once again with a longtime friend, Kelly Isola. Marg, I'll let you introduce her.
That was interesting. My mic went muted. The gremlins are with us. Welcome, Kelly. Welcome, Reverend Kelly. I see where this is going already. Reverend Kelly is a unity minister, speaker, and innovation alchemist, exploring the intersection of spirituality, embodiment, and cultural change. Her work integrates trauma-informed practice, interfaith leadership, and what she calls a twofold path, honoring both inner healing and outer engagement. She is the founder of the Story in Our Bones, a trauma-informed strength and resistance practice rooted in a simple truth. The body holds the story. Interesting. It remembers what the mind can't or won't. A trauma-informed approach to healing built on the pathway, connect, move, heal. Kelly challenges performance-based spirituality, inviting a deeper experience of presence, care, and right relationship. I'm always intrigued to hear what you have to say, Kelly. We don't always agree, but I just love the conversation. I must say, most of the time we agree, but...
So wait, stop.
Wait, what?
You don't always agree? You never told me you have to speak up when you don't agree.
Well, I will.
Well, you haven't so far.
Okay, well, yeah, but we just got started today. We'll just see where it goes today.
It made it sound like you've disagreed in the past, but I didn't know. You didn't tell me.
Oh, well, you know.
You Canadians.
If it comes to me, Kelly, I will.
You Canadians.
Well,
you're
yeah,
so kind.
No.
I can just see where this is going to go today between the two of you.
Yeah.
So Kelly, tell us a little bit about the topic today. The Lost Gospel of Sufficiency.
Yep. So the Lost Gospel of Sufficiency, the reason I call it that is that, so I'm, a lot of my focus will start with unity, but it's not, this is what I'm talking about is not unique to unity. But I'm going to start with unity because it's very easy to demonstrate the title. And so what I mean by that is that in unity, we have, for the most part, Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder Myrtle Fillmore, her practice, her theology, her beliefs, her, pick a word, were pretty much sidelined long ago and kind of moved into a devotional kind of space. Not, for multiple reasons. And one of them was that unity was very new, a very new movement. The way you get a movement going is you need to move fast and have things that are repeatable that you can share and, inform the masses quickly and have something that, moves you along. And that's Charles Fillmore, very systems oriented, right? The 12 powers, that's a system. Demonstration, law, manifestation, divine order, mind, idea, expression, all of that is system and cognitive. Myrtle Fillmore is focused on the body. And sufficiency is her language, is her theology, right? Whereas Charles Fillmore, really, it's prosperity. And prosperity in his thinking and his theology and his way of being was increase, right? Demonstration, manifestation, more, and abundance. Now, I want to be really clear. This is not for unity an either or. Unity has two theologies. They just don't know it. And they're not interchangeable. They're two very different theologies. So the Lost Gospel of Sufficiency is, I'm talking about Myrtle. She just got lost along the way. And sufficiency is another word for it is enoughness, which is not a quantity. It's a thought. It's a way of being, right? It's a felt experience. So you can think of sufficiency as, when there's something going on, there's a challenge in my life, whatever that is. And Myrtle Fillmore focuses on the body first. She focuses on care. She focuses on, being present to. She doesn't go to the mental yet. Do the caring, the tending to first. And the moment that you have this sense of, oh, I can breathe a little easier, or my body is sort of, it's not like everything's solved and everything's all better, but the moment the moment you're no longer bracing for impact, now you've entered the door of sufficiency. Now you've opened a door where the life that wants to emerge can emerge and unfold, from a very different place than just focusing on the cognitive. Because what happens is with the cognitive, there's denials, there's affirmations, think your way to a better life, 5 steps to whatever. She's not a 5 steps to or 7 steps. She's not a systems person. She doesn't believe in tithing. She practiced generosity. I even have read letters where she sent the money back. Whoever sent it, she sent it back, telling them, I believe you need this more than we do.
Wow.
So the Lost Gospel of Sufficiency is a way, kind of annoying or disruptive way of telling people Myrtle got forgotten, like the theology of Myrtle. So what I'm doing is making her front and center, because it's been very Charles leaning for 100+ years.
Mm-hmm.
And we have long passed place. You need them both. You need to be caring and tending to before you move into the mental, because otherwise it's like rearranging the deck furniture on the Titanic. You're wanting to have somebody cleanse their thoughts, and when their body is dysregulated, you're wanting them to think this, or here's a denial, here's an affirmation. without tending to the source, which is held in here.
Mm-hmm. The caring and the compassion
Yeah.
that goes with it beforehand.
Yes.
So that people can hear.
That the body, because the body's in alarm.
Mm.
So nothing's going to get in while the body's in alarm mode.
Mm-hmm.
So the sufficiency thing, or, the different practices, or how you sort of, bring the intensity down.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that her voice got lost because of the era when, women didn't have many rights as men?
Well, it got lost for several reasons. That's one of them. And it really isn't about women's rights, because Myrtle was really, she was very much a feminist. And she was, I don't know that people really realize just how much of a spiritual force she was. Because
can I just say one thing that I loved about her?
Yeah.
Is that when they built a house, she wouldn't have a kitchen built. So that for me was just amazing. In those days, to build a house and say, no, I don't want a kitchen, I'm not cooking.
Yeah.
I just love that.
Yeah. It's very clear. No, and what is Charles going to do? Argue with her? Yeah. I don't think so.
So they used to go to his mother, right? For lunch,
she lived next
door. Meals.
She lived next door. Yeah. It's just like you look at the kids and your husband and go out the back door, make a left. She's right there.
I love that.
I know.
It's interesting what you're saying, Kelly. I can relate to it in a different way. Like, I know spirituality is connected to everything we do. I was just talking, I see a counselor regularly, and we were having a conversation, and she said, Marg, did you hear what you just said? I said, I made a decision based on how I felt. I felt peaceful. Normally, I'm very much in my head, and I'm a doer. So, okay, I'm going to do this task. I'm going to get through this situation because I can do this and this and this. So instead of feeling it in my body, no matter what this situation is, I go to the plan because I have control then. If I can take this, I know, I see this work there. I can take this and I can do something with it. I don't have to let it unfold. So when I hear what you're saying and apply it to spirituality, I think I can think. I will feel it. I'm listening. I'll do that. I am listening to you, Kelly.
So I'm going to push back on one thing.
Yep.
For now. And that is when you said, when I apply it to something spiritual, what I would say is it's all spiritual.
Yes.
So that doesn't even make sense to me when someone says, well, when I apply it to spirituality, well, that's what you were doing before when you were trying to think your way out of it. Mm-hmm. We're spiritual beings or we're not.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We can't be out of it. So it's what I think one thing that gets lost is it's not just the feeling. Like there actually is whatever my challenge is that's going on, that it's really we're arguing with reality. So what can I do to fix it? Right? That's kind of what you're describing. So, we go to our head, but what's happened is over the centuries, we've replaced this sufficiency and caring for and tending to with a performance strategy. Right? Because that's what you're describing is a performance strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it doesn't make us more free.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes us more anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So I want to go back to something you said about Myrtle's way of practicing sufficiency. And I can't remember the exact words. I should have written them down. But in my mind, it was resistance, letting go. So when you stop resisting, and you used another phrase, that's when you can relax into sufficiency.
Sort of. So to let go of resistance is a cognitive thing.
Okay.
So that's not what you're doing.
Okay.
What you're doing is so yes, there is resistance, but it's felt.
Mm.
So you can't let go of it until you tend to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when I said, the moment I stop bracing for the impact.
That was it, bracing for the impact.
When I'm bracing for the impact, right? Think about the challenges that we have and what's, waiting for the shoe to drop, or whatever phrase, but sufficiency is the moment we stop bracing for the impact, which does not mean that everything's been solved. It just means there's a little more space to breathe, that the emotions intensity is kind of dropped. The mind is less like a hamster wheel and it has slowed, so it's not like everything has been cleared up, but it's regulating the body so that now I can actually address what's going on. And what Myrtle does, and so what I'm going to talk about right relationship, which has been around for millennia. Like, that's not new to Myrtle, but that's the language she uses, and other traditions over the centuries have used it. But that being, when you realize that you're bracing for impact and you feel it, it's not I need to let go of resistance. It's, where am I feeling the resistance in my body? And if it's in the contraction of the chest, it's the shoulders, it's the, I'm often going, the jaw, because I'll hold it there. And that's how you release. It's not a thinking thing. It's not a denial and affirmation thing. So once you're kind of more regulated, kind of back in the body and identifying where in my body am I feeling this, now you move into, Myrtle's question is, what are you not in right relationship with? So if you're afraid, okay, so I need to be in right relationship with the fear. And what right relationship means, it's not right like right or wrong. That's not what it is. It's and it's not like a strategy or a magic pill. It's right relationship means I'm willing to see it. I'm willing to be with it. And what is it? Where is it in my body? What is it telling me? And be in relationship with me, which means it's here. So stop arguing with reality. I love when I hear someone go, well, I just don't want to be afraid, or I don't want to do, well, I don't want to cry so much because then I'm going to be blah, blah, blah. And I look at them and I go, you're already in blah, blah, blah. So just say it and start being in right relationship with it. And once we're in right relationship, then we can move into more, a practical cognitive kind of thing. But the right relationship is one of the most difficult things because we've built a culture of demonstration. We've built a culture that says, if what's going on in my world is not what I wanted, then I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah. So I need to go back to anchor this right relationship thing. So what I hear you saying, and I know you will correct me if I'm wrong.
I have to.
I know.
Because it's fun.
Job. It's your job.
Anyway, is so really acknowledging, first of all, becoming aware of what you're feeling in your body, and then acknowledging where it's coming from. Is this an anxiety or fear, or what is the feeling behind it? And then being willing to just sit with it instead of trying to push it away.
Yeah. It's not a right relationship is not a moral demand. It's not a rigid spiritual rule. It's just a lived experience of some harmony. And harmony doesn't mean that there aren't any little bumps, right? Think about a choir. or any piece of music that has multiple, pieces, multiple sections, right? If you think about a choir, the sopranos and the altos and tenors and bass, and they're all singing a different thing, but it goes together.
Yeah. So that what you're saying allows you to stop bracing for the impact.
Yeah.
And then to be able to carry on with whatever you need to do.
Right. So the right relationship is one of the most difficult things about it to learn, is that so far I have said nothing about God, because this has nothing to do with God, in quotations. But there's no conversation about God. There's no bringing in, there's only one presence and one power, whatever. It's not helpful when someone's dysregulated. It's just not. You can't, again, rearranging the deck furniture on the Titanic. If someone is in a place, they're not going to, who can, okay, now you've put them into a cognitive place. Oh, that's right, I forgot. And now you've taken them out of their body. Right? So right relationship is not something that's abstract. It's how do you speak to your body when you're exhausted? Right? How do you meet fear? Do you meet it to try to dominate it? Oh, I shouldn't be afraid, or this is, I must be doing something wrong, or whatever. So are you meeting it trying to dominate or control, or are you meeting it with some reassurance? Sort of like, oh, come on in. Welcome to the table. I'm not going to give you a chair because you're not going to be staying long, but you're welcome at the table for now. We're not pitching our tent there, but you're welcome at the table now. And oh, I can feel that in my shoulders. They're hunched over. Right? How do you relate to money? Right? Is it proof of your worth? Is it something that this is all of our, this will make people crazy, but in unity, in New Thought, really, as a whole, New Thought culture is about demonstration. Demonstration is more. So is our relationship with money about circulation? Or is it about our worth, or, manifesting? That's one of the things that made me crazy about the movie The Secret. Oh my God. It was just stand there in front of the necklace you love and it'll just appear. I'm like, oh God. Not helping, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so a few minutes ago you said, okay, notice that I haven't said anything about God.
Yeah, and I saw your face.
But, so isn't everything God?
If for you it is.
Well, that's not what I said. That's what, isn't that's what we're all told? It's all God?
What unity teaches.
Yeah, it depends who your teachers are. Some people are told that.
I'm just poking the bear here.
Yeah, I got it. And there's no bear, because you get to believe what you want to believe. And for me, God is principle, right? That's everywhere present. But I don't use it until I've regulated myself. So I don't, intentionally, conscientiously, consciously use that principle and make it personal until I've done the caring and the tending.
Okay.
Right.
And
so
you're
teaching metaphysics without the care is cruel.
I hear you. And so you're not saying that the presence isn't there within this dialogue with the situation and your body.
Absolutely not. But I'm not talking about it. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just bringing that forward for anybody who's in the background going, wait a second.
Right. So it's how you hold, God, spirit, what's your thing about ultimate reality.
And that's one of the things that I really love about unity, is that we can all express how we feel about that as individuals. We don't. I do anyway. For
Depends
me,
on what church you're in.
yeah, but okay, so that's probably true, because it also depends on the minister, the spiritual leader, and where they're coming from when they're doing, delivering services in a certain ministry.
And the person beside you.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do appreciate that we can be autonomous, and we don't have to be exactly the same and believe exactly the same, as long as we understand the principles and the teaching behind it. I think that for me is important.
Yeah, and that teaching is also going to be a little different wherever you go.
Absolutely, from different teachers.
Yep. So if you're sitting in a class of mine, you're going to get, wait, what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I never heard that. How come nobody told me that? And I'm like, I know. That's why I'm telling you now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because it was forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, so that's why there's so much of what I'm doing is, like the Sacred Disruptor, this Lost Gospel of Sufficiency. I have a whole Lost Gospel series coming over the summer. The Lost Gospel of Belonging, of Limit, of Courage, of Enoughness. So there's and it's not, and so this idea that I'm talking about is not unique to Unity. For starters, all of New Thought, demonstration culture, even if you look at our history, right? Go back to Quimby, and go back to Mary Baker Eddy, go back, keep going back. Christianity says, ask, believe, and you'll receive. Knock and the door will be opened. Seek and you'll find. So it becomes transactional. Self-help world. So now it's, there's lots of people, like, I think there should be a self-help burning festival, self-help book burning. People, it's like $14 billion a year on self-help stuff, books, workshops, webinars, whatever, which I'm not opposed to self-help, but we are addicted to it. And it's this obsession over optimizing.
And what do we do? What are we saying to ourselves when we are continuously looking for self-help?
You're broken.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before we go to commercial, two things. Kelly, would you write a self-help book for those who are addicted to self-help?
No, but I'll post or do some memes periodically.
And when we come back, if you could tell us about the story of our bones. That's what I was looking at a few minutes ago.
The story in our bones? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think when we come back, I would love to hear about that.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's a book or if it's a course that you teach. So
it's my work.
It's your work.
Website, thestoryinourbones.com.
Okay, so don't go away. It's time for us to take a quick break.
Yes,
and we will be right back with Kelly, starting with the story of our bones. And now I'm intrigued.
Story in our bones.
The story in our bones.
In our bones. My bad.
Bones. Okay. Love that. So as soon as we come back, we're going to go into the story in our bones. See you in a moment.
Having Courageous Conversations is proudly sponsored by Unity Kitchener. We are a welcoming spiritual community where open dialogue, personal growth, and authentic connection are encouraged. Join us Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern for inspiration, reflection, and meaningful conversation. Learn more at unitykitchener.org. Unity Kitchener, a positive path for spiritual living.
Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Unity of Garden Park, New Thought Philadelphia, the Sunshine Cathedral, Unity of Savannah, and the Ohm Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
We're back.
Yes, we are. And we're going into talking about the story in our bones. So thanks, Mark, for remembering to bring that up. And Kelly, what is that about?
So the body remembers what the mind can't or won't. So the story in our bones that's the name I have for what I do, because that's where our stories live, in our bones, in our body.
Mm-hmm.
And the body remembers everything, whether we realize it or not. So it's trauma-informed healing work. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of different ways to come at it. And I got lots of different certifications. But it's this kind of model of connect, then move, then heal. So it's really about, strength and resistance, training, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you do some of that work, you'd be amazed what comes out. You'd be amazed what gets released. You'd be amazed what's been hanging around forever, inside. Whether I'm working individually with someone or a group, there's always there's always movement involved.
Mm-hmm.
It's trauma-informed somatic healing that's for every single body, not just everybody, but every body.
Mm-hmm.
So there's strength practices, somatic healing, contemplative movement. It's not about fitness or performance. It's the resilience, the restoration. That's where the sufficiency is. That's where it's about restoration.
Mm.
So in one model, in one theology, like Charles, it's about demonstration and manifestation. For Myrtle, it's restoration.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
yeah, give us an example of what you're talking about.
Say that again?
An example.
Sure. So someone comes to see me and they don't, so everybody has trauma, right? It's the buzzword for years now. And it's a Greek word that just means wound. And so we're all carrying them. Most of my focus is on women 50 and over, because we're the ones that have been, especially Black women, have been holding, have been the most wounded and holding everything up. So someone, would come to me because they know they're, often they get referred from a physical therapist, if the physical therapist knows what I do. So, come because something's amiss. You want, basically, it kind of starts up here. You want more confidence, more balance, more strength, more, I'm 52, but I feel like I'm 70, right? And that, you ever hear that term, I'm too young to be old and too old to be young. But women, so that's generally the starting point. So then I just, there's always an assessment. So a woman comes to me because she's tired, she's exhausted. I used to be able to not have a problem going up and down the stairs. I used to be able to get up out of a chair without an issue, and she's 55. And so it's that is a result of the stories, the histories that are still living in the body. but the mind doesn't remember, right? It either can't or won't, because some people have huge trauma, from eons ago. So where I start with someone like that is just some very simple things, like learning how to get up out of a chair without using your hands or armrest. You would be amazed how many people cannot. So that's a starting point. And what happens from just learning how to do that, which doesn't necessarily take a long time, but you practice, is if you think about it for a minute, imagine the impact on what you think, impact on what you think about your body, right? Impact on how you physically feel, impact on your level of confidence, impact on, okay, I think it's okay for me to take up the space that I take up, right? So it's, the first thing is, when I said connect, is we're going to connect with breath, you're going to connect with the body. I'm always going to say in any conversation, where do you feel it in your body? You want to honor somebody's limits, but you're building trust with the body, which is what sufficiency is about, relationship. When we trust the body, then we can move into some of the mental things. So she, it begins with that, maybe just standing up from a chair without trouble, without, there still might be some creaking. I joke about it. It sounds like, one of those glow sticks that you kind of, that's what I sound like when I stand up. But then move it into, okay, now do that holding a gallon of milk, kind of against your chest. So now we're into resistance and strength, even more so. Now it's, and there's different, and walking. Get anyone to walk where it's like, 1 foot in front of another. They give them 2 steps and they're like, oh, well, it's a balance thing. Because as we grow older, we lose the fluid in our ears. So I have to kind of pay attention. But it's also, and so there's this movement to build the resilience, to build the strength, the confidence, and contemplative practices, which is, pausing at places, closing the eyes, maybe if they feel safe. What is it what's going on inside and where? And then slowly you start to connect something to the original wound, right? I know, and so that's what what the woman will do is like, oh, she's like one woman, for instance, finally connected it to, growing up, you sat and you be still and you be quiet, as a young girl, and also when you're bad, you're sent to sit in the corner, facing the corner. So it was this sitting to be good. So you don't, and to stand up in her family was like a sign of strength, of, resisting the grown up, right? Of disobeying. It's not true, but that's the system she was in.
Yeah. So you're saying, sorry, I just, Mark, I'll just say this and then go over to you. By actually working on the body, loosening the body, you loosen the memories.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's quite loosening the body as much as strengthening it.
Okay.
But you'll loosen some things, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's more about your awakening resilience, and so you're like, and you feel more freedom in the body, and you're like, wait, I can do this. I can get through that.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Mark.
Well, first I was going to say I was never in the corner because, there was never any cause for that.
Well, I wish I could get on board with you, but I had one with my name on it, like they put a sign on it.
My brother that I used to drag into trouble with me would actually, he would disagree with me. Anyway, Kelly, so you are a Unity minister, and so it's interesting that you would choose, like, body work and like what brought you to this area? What inspired? Did you discover this through your own transformation of some kind?
Well, there's several sort of doorways. So one of them is my mother was a hospice nurse, and so death was just always present, and it wasn't, like basically our culture is put makeup on them, and you need to embalm them and put makeup on them and lay them out so it doesn't look like death, right? And that's just not real, and that's not the world I grew up in. So there was definitely a different connection to the body in terms of it. When you die, it falls apart. If you just put it in the ground, you become worm food. So, and I don't remember my mother ever saying that, but it was just a different perspective on death and the body and dying. And then, and I was an active addict for a while, and that's just any way you can beat up the body, that's the way to do it. Go down the road. Being raped a few times, having the body assaulted, so all of this just lives in the central nervous system. And, when I got clean and then kind of moving through time, just always, fascinated isn't the right word, but when I was introduced to unity, I don't know, 30 years ago, it, for better or for worse, it derailed me into all the mental cognitive. I could think my way out of something, and weight, right? Being overweight, always knowing there's something wrong with you because you're overweight. I've had unity ministers tell me that I have no business being at the front of the room teaching spiritual principles because of how I look. And that's verbatim, not making it up. Personally, I think they should be disrobed, but that's just cruel. Never mind metaphysical malpractice. That's just mean. So, and learning more about that, and just taking a while to be comfortable with who I am and what I look like. And at one point, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe, I don't know, I was in a class, and then I was teaching the class, but one of the exercises was you take a string and you make a circle on the floor for how much space do you think you take up physically. So I make this circle, and then you go sit in it and see how, so I make this circle with the string, and then I go be in it, and you kind of sit down or you kneel down, and realizing that I'm contracting in order to get myself to fit in the string, which means that I'm not okay. I'm not in right relationship with my body because I didn't make a string big enough. I don't see myself, which means I'm broken. I need to be smaller. So it's a series of events. And then I was introduced to somatic, trauma therapies, and went down those roads, and just more and more and more, coming alive. And then when I got into weightlifting, that was a serious, fast door opening. Because the minute, if like deadlifting, you have a bar and you got the weights on the end of the bars, the minute you get into doing that, it's, for me, just like this little ball of, violence, of terror, of poison that had been I've done everything in the world to heal trauma, and yet there was still this little ball just in there. And the minute I started with the deadlifting, the first time that I did a deadlift, my physical therapist said that it was 90 pounds. He goes, "How much do you think you lifted?" And I go, "I don't know, 40 pounds." He goes, "No, it was 90. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." But he leaned in and he said, you were really good at that. And of course I go, okay, great. Like with every compliment, okay, thanks. And then he knew what I was doing because I'd been seeing him for a little bit. And then he leans in and he goes, no, you were really good at this. And I'm like, okay. And he said, no, you're so good at this. If this was 30 years ago, I'd be training you for the Olympics.
Wow.
That's how good you are at this. And then I was like, huh. Like, then you could shut Kelly up. And then the very last thing he said, and leaned in a little bit more, he said, and I don't know if I could say it without crying, but he leans in, he's not that far away from me. And he goes, your body was perfectly designed for this. And then I
got goosebumps.
Yeah, I can't even talk now.
Yeah.
I took it home and I, kind of sat with it and it, percolate and be in right relationship with it and just, what is that? And sobbed for like 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to a friend and I told her, the whole story. And after I said, your body was perfectly designed for this, I said, she interrupts me and she goes, wait a minute. It's not just that you heard him, you believed him.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, yeah. So that was probably the biggest turning point where I decided, okay, I'm going public.
Mm-hmm.
And it just was a huge turning point for me in terms of the body remembers what the mind can't or won't.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of this just came pouring out and, there was never anything wrong or broken with me. And here's through this, strength and resistance, like now I can lift 290 pounds. So, and it's not like I wanted to get there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just recognize the power in the resistance and the strength and what it does for your confidence and how it really brings you into relationship with your body. Because we live in a culture that we cut off here, right? So what are the stories in my bones? And it's not just my stories, it's generational, right? So my mother told me my whole life, when I was pregnant with you, I gained 45 pounds, more than anybody else. And I'm like, there's 5 kids. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you. That's a wonderful affirmation. So it's my fault that you have these big hips and all that. Got it. Yeah. I don't know. That was a long answer, Mark.
Thank you for being open and vulnerable. And something triggered a memory of my mom, and I'm feeling very emotional right now. And, there's somebody by the name of Kelly Isola that said it's okay to cry.
Yes.
I think you did a talk on that now, didn't you?
I think I did.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So our tears feed the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was very, I think it was a great explanation of how you got to where you are. By doing all the work and recognizing, first of all, you didn't recognize it, but you were doing some physical work, but then recognizing that even after all the work that you had done with consciousness and I suppose counseling and all that kind of, learning about somatics, there was still something held in the body.
Yes.
Was like, only released once you picked up those weights.
Yep. Because I had to move the body to get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Which is why my little, umbrella is connect, move, heal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now you're healed and you don't have to ever go through any of that again, right?
Okay.
Are we ever though, Kelly? Seriously?
I I used to ask that question and be asked it, and I haven't asked myself that question in a long time because I think healing is a journey, not a destination.
I agree.
Even Myrtle, like there's this whole cultural myth that Myrtle healed herself of tuberculosis in 2 years. Yeah, not so much. There's actually no proof she had tuberculosis. She had a lot of symptoms of things that she took care of over the years, but she died. When she died, she was still a massive worrywart. You know, anxiety. So it's not a destination for me. It's ongoing. And she talks about there's no time, right? There's not a time limit, which is, we get stuck in that with the demonstration, manifestation, law, do these 5 steps. Like it's, the answer is supposed to show up in some time period that we just make up. You know, I don't think Charles ever picked a time frame. And if it doesn't show up, well, then keep doing it. You're not, you know, something's amiss. And not very nonlinear. She was nonlinear. It was very nonlinear. And there's no time. There's such a thing as, you know, what she might call partial healing, which you can define that anyway. But it's not this here and then here.
Yeah, do these steps and then you'll get to this place.
Yeah.
And I think I've heard you say that she also lived it. She was living her belief system.
Yeah. Yeah, if you read her letters, she generally starts, I don't know if I remember one when she didn't, but she starts the letter out telling the person how grateful she is that they wrote, or so glad to hear from you, or she starts out in this very relational, belonging place. She doesn't start off with, well, what are you holding in consciousness? You know, I think if somebody were to say that in front of her, she'd probably smack them. But it's not, this is why she didn't disagree with necessarily what Charles was saying or doing. It just was not her theology. There's and they weren't saying the same things differently. They were saying different things.
Yeah, that's interesting. Saying different things, believing that it comes to the same outcome.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
She was not. Outcome is Charles.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you heard that before?
Yes.
Like the other night?
Yeah, outcome is Charles, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So what I'm hearing you say, it's not about the outcome, it's about the being, like right here, right now.
Yep.
Yeah. You don't have to be over there.
No, it's about being
in the moment.
Being in right relationship.
Yeah.
Right? Finding that, oh my God, I'm not bracing for the impact anymore. Right?
Kelly, I think you got to write a book on that.
You know how many people tell me this?
No, first the self-help about self-help. That's first.
Well, it's self-obsessed, really. And even the wellness industry is just very toxic. It's like, how do I like yoga even, and there's so many things in the wellness industry that are just again about trying to get somewhere or get it right, or this is broken, so you need to do that. Look at how many commercials do you see for prescription drugs?
My goodness.
Right?
And all the side effects.
Yes. I timed a commercial. This was a couple of months ago, but a commercial came up and I'm like, you know what? I want to see how much time they spend on the actual pharmaceutical and how much time gets spent on, side effects and the other, see, and it was like 25%, 75%. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's crazy. And how many times that same ad comes up in one program? It's just like, boom, boom, boom. You just, yeah. And well, we are coming to the end of the show, and this has been a wonderful conversation. I always enjoy speaking with you, Kelly. You too, Mark. I love the questions. I love the conversations that we have. So, Kelly, if there's, we like to ask people near the end, if there's one thing you would like to leave people thinking about or leave them with, what would that be?
Well, a couple things come to mind. Is know that this is universal, right? It's not unique to Unity or New Thought, but we stopped asking, am I okay? And we started asking, am I getting results? I want us to go back to,
am I okay?
Am I okay?
Yeah.
And we've taught people how to master their thoughts before even learning how to feel safe in their bodies, before learning how to trust the body.
Yeah.
That's what this is learning to trust the body.
Those are great things to leave people with, because I think that's what ultimately causes illness.
Yeah.
Is going straight to the head and not to the body, and suppressing things. So thank you for that. Mark, is there anything you would like to share?
No, I'm doing a lot of processing.
I think we fried her brain.
That already happened, Kelly.
Yeah.
Just you're reaffirming what I've been working on and looking to go first to the feeling and then to the acting. So
yeah, and first go to the sense, like we have a sensing nature, which is the body. Go there first. Then if you want to start feeling nature, right? Like naming feelings, but do sensing first.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, going back to trusting yourself, trusting what comes up in you.
Trust your body.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. And I think for me, I love going deeper into these conversations because I'm curious, and I learn so much. Even, when we think we know something, I realize we know nothing. So I appreciate that. And I invite everybody who's here, whether watching it live or watching it at some other time, to be more curious and open yourself up to going deeper. So thank you so much, Kelly.
You're welcome.
It's been wonderful having you once again, and I'm sure we will again too.
Okay.
So thank you for joining us. And don't go away. Please like, please share, and please subscribe, because that helps us get to more people, and especially our guest speakers who have these wonderful messages and things to teach or to talk about. So we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.